So in this video we'll be looking at kind of knife edges and how they work, as well as the damage that I found on the chamber that I got to a couple of the knife edges, specifically on the 8-inch and a 6-inch flange. The knife edge in ultra high vacuum is basically this edge here going all the way around on the flange, and what it does is it bites into a copper gasket, creating a metal to metal face seal, which is essentially impermeable if done right to molecules. And interestingly, it's not the, let's see if I can get this down a little bit. It's not the knife edge itself that does the sealing. Here we go. So if you call this the knife edge, this does bite into the gasket, but the seal actually happens on this flat raised edge. So this is the conformal edge seal. Well, essentially the copper gasket conforms to that flat edge, and that's the metal to metal face that forms the actual seal. Where I'm going with this is that you can have damage on this knife edge, but as long as the damage isn't all the way radially across that face, if you clamp the flanges hard enough, tight enough together, then it could seal past where the damage is and you still get your seal, which hopefully that's the case on my chamber. From giving it a quick look, there might be a chance that is the case, and that the damage is just on the knife edge itself, and there's enough sealing face left untouched that it can still form the seal. And if I bring this up, the way that this works is you have one sealing flange, you have your copper gasket. This one's already used, as you can see, but it would come, these are one-time use, so you would put it in, and then your second flange basically goes on top, and then you use bolts to clamp these together, and they will slowly squish that copper gasket until you basically get a seal like this. You can, it's kind of hard to show on the camera, but you can see the face that's created, and I'll show some microscope pictures that show this a lot better here in a minute. And yeah, and then we will take a look at basically the damaged port on the vacuum chamber. I did find that guy, so that's going to be kind of nice. It's an 8-inch addition to the chamber, and it's capped 1 out of 4 8-inch flanges. I have all the 6-inchers and 2.75 inch flanges as well to be able to cap off all the ports, but the 8-inch flanges are going to be the ones that I got to spend some time trying to get a hold of. So I need 3 more, and then I'll be able to actually try and pull vacuum on this. Gonna do a little test here to see how the damaged knife edge flange behaves with a copper gasket, because it might not be bad enough and if it isn't, then we should be able to see that on the actual gasket print, I guess, left behind by the imprint left behind by the knife edge. And normally you would have gloves on for installing these gaskets and flanges, but since I'm gonna install this and take it right off, since this is just a test, I don't really need gloves. I did make this much tighter than it needs to be, just to really bite into that copper gasket really well, but normally you wouldn't go that far with it because you want to leave yourself a little bit of room to be able to tighten it up if there are leaks. Okay, now we're gonna undo the flange and see what the copper gasket looks like. Okay, and let's see if you can see this. There is where the damaged spot is. And we'll take a look under the microscope, but it actually does look like there is enough of a undamaged sealing face. We might still be able to get a good seal just using a regular copper gasket rather than trying to, instead of using Viton like this, which again, this works, but you can't get as high of a vacuum. But the nice thing is if you have a damaged knife edge and you don't need a crazy high vacuum, you just throw this on and it will conform to the damage.